jumped the gun there already with the live feed going great already. Well, welcome to the Sports Reform Podcast. I'm Scott along with JT and Jeff. And we're so happy.
Double duty on the controls tonight.
Gotta love running tech.
Hey,
Hey, we made it work.
we all do it.
Maybe. It's still a black screen right now, so.
Well, they could hear us at least, right?
I don't know. We'll see. If you're tuning in, go ahead and if you have any of our numbers, go ahead and let us know if you can hear us.
Give us a call or a text warning. Well, we'll jump right in. Again, just as a quick reminder for all of you, if you're watching this, you're on YouTube, so you've got our YouTube channel. Give us a like and a subscribe. We would love it. But also you can reach out to us via email, via sportsreform@gmail.com. You can call us, and we'll have a segment here in a few minutes. We'd love for you to call and give us your feedback, 530-377-6787, or simply 5303-SPORTS. And Twitter @the Sports Reform. Well, we're just going to jump right in tonight. We've got football back. Finally,
Yes.
It's been way too long. We're excited. It's all about the hype, all about the predictions. So we're going to jump in and just get right to it. And again, want to hear your feedback. And like I said, with the live feed, make it work.
I've confirmed it is up and running.
Nice.
Excellent. Again. We're watching ourselves in third person.
Just our video monitors down, but hey, I mean,
Yeah.
what kind of discount production is this?
Let's see. I think we spent $10
Yeah, okay.
on the software to stream.
That sounds about right.
We're making it work. Awesome. Well, football.
Yeah,
Hype.
hype train. Not that it needs it. I mean, it's football. All right, so we're gonna talk little NFL. We're gonna talk some college. Just
I don't know if that's any copyright infringement,
they're,
but hey.
they're not our
yeah.
sponsors. They're not our sponsors.
We do not in any way own this.
Okay. So let's we'll start out just kind of going by division, and we'll talk about at least the three of us here before we get into calls. We'll talk maybe some predictions, division winners, that sort of thing, maybe wild card teams. And in terms of hype, we'll go, what do you see as maybe one of the biggest storylines, with one of the teams in said division? And we'll just kind of have Sophie's choice. Everybody can just pick a team and kind of go with it, even if we end up talking about the same team. So we'll start today in the AFC East, and that is the Dolphins, Jets, Patriots, and Bills. So I'll ask you, Jeff, starting off. Do the Patriots have any chance of
Appreciate that.
losing this division?
Of losing.
Are the Patriots a lock?
I would say injuries to key players, but last season they started without Brady and went 3-1.
Yeah. I don't think any of us at this table see the Patriots not winning this. I mean, they get, 5 bye weeks this year because the Dolphins have Cutler.
They better lead the league in interceptions when it's all said and done. All right, so are we all going New England?
I would have to go New England.
I mean, the Bills are giving up.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, the Jets are... Well,
the Bills are going the
Jets.
baseball route. It's a rebuilding year for them. I think, is that what they're sending their
Yeah.
message to their fans?
They've been rebuilding since the 90s when they lost
I'll say,
straight Super
and for
Bowls.
fantasy football, Sammy Watkins just dropped 2-3 rounds of value.
He's about as bad as Ezekiel
At
in
least.
Dallas.
At least Ezekiel will be around for the playoff run in fantasy football.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so just hype, and I know obviously we're busted on the Patriots and the Bills, but to me, I think one of the bigger stories out of this, besides all the major national media kissing up to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, let's admit it all happens. I honestly think Cutler will not be as bad as Dolphins and Bears fans think he will be. I'm not saying he will be good, but I don't think it's the apocalypse that the Bears.
I think we take a step back. As a Dolphins fan, a team that made the playoffs last year, I don't think we get there this year. I could say 500 to 7-9 with Cutler.
And true. I mean, because okay, with the three of us being around, I mean, just our teams. He's played for each one of our teams, so we have a feel.
We have a tragedy
obviously.
situation.
He technically hasn't played for my team yet. I still have hope. Come on, Matt. I can't even do that.
But I mean, to that point though, he can't be a very bipolar quarterback. I mean, kind of almost like the Rex Grossman feel, flashes of brilliance followed by
Utter disappointment.
he would be a backup at my middle school football team that went 1-9 both years I was there. I didn't play football in middle school, but we just had an awful football team. All right, so we basically all agree. Okay, Patriots are going to win. Do you, other than maybe Cutler or Tom Brady and the man who sold his soul to the devil, Bill Belichick, do you guys see any other major storylines throughout the season coming out of that division?
I mean, I know we touched on it with the Bills trading away Sammy Watkins. I think anytime, especially this early, you see moves like that, there's something going on within the organization that, with things of this nature, it's a bigger deal than its surface level. So I think there's more to the story there. I'm not implying necessarily negativity to it, but I think the Bills, you'll see even more changes coming throughout the season. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg.
I think so. I'd agree with that. All right, let's move on to the AFC South. That's the Jags, the Titans, the Colts, and the Texans. So, Scott, we'll start with you this time. Who do you like winning this division? I know this one's a little not as cut and dry as the East.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think any division other than the AFC East is really a gimme anymore. The parity, I think, is leveled out besides really the Patriots over the past decade in the NFL. But with the AFC South, I'm really knowing a lot more about this division than probably most people as NFL fans just across the nation. Being a Jaguars fan, or excuse me, not a Jaguars fan, growing up from Jacksonville. Yeah. And I mean, I rooted for them growing up, and I don't hate the team. There's a lot of history there in my youth growing up with the team. But I think about teams like the Texans and the Titans sort of having the same feel to them, knowing that they're not the Dallas Cowboys, they're not the New York Giants. So it is kind of an underdog. And with those, I think I see the Indianapolis Colts winning it, but there's a lot of storylines that can play out throughout the season that could blow my pick away.
And you got to take into account Andrew Luck's health right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's not 100%. So to me, this division's wide open.
Yeah.
Well, I say the Colts, even without Andrew Luck, I probably should have prefaced that.
Are you putting the Colts as is that inkable?
Yes, you can mark that down in ink. I think right now the other teams, they're younger and they don't quite have the talent. I think the Colts do have, both with their staff and with some of their players, they have a little bit more of an edge coming off the past 2 seasons for them. I think they've got enough momentum to carry them, even if they do have some injury struggles.
I'm gonna.
You can disagree with me. Go for it.
This is where I'm gonna put my first stretch pick here. I think because this division's wide open, I'm gonna pick the Titans to win it. But I don't think they're gonna blow anybody away. I'm thinking maybe a 9-7 season.
500 team wins the division.
Yeah. This is one of those 500.
It'd be like the Seahawks in 2012 when they went 7-9-1. I think it's the only time it's ever happened.
Saints.
So who do you have, Jeff?
I mean, the Texans made the playoffs last year, but you're now short. Well, I mean, he didn't really play, so I'll say Osweiler. I think the more interesting thing is everybody saw Deshaun Watson last week and fell in love with him against third stringers.
Yeah.
Maybe a few second stringers. So I think that'll be the storyline to watch is when does Watson play? Can he actually hit passes that aren't in Tampa double deep? Because it wasn't even just the Tampa 2 deep. I mean, there were huge gaps between linebackers and the safeties.
And let's face it, Tampa's defense is not that great to begin with.
Right. We're going to open up the phone lines in just 1 minute, so hold on to your thoughts there, guys. Call-ins, hold on.
But, and actually, we kind of discussed, we talked about a couple prop bets, and I found a couple interesting ones that deal with the NFC, or AFC South, rather. And we talked earlier, maybe this is a 500 winner of the division. And so there is a prop bet out there. Will any division winner, this is from, I believe, Sports Insight, But basically, will there be an 8-8 division winner? Or I'm sorry, any division winner with fewer than 9 wins?
Right, and it would be the South if it
Yeah,
happens.
they have yes at plus 190 and no at minus 270. But I found another one. This is Bovada. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But they have Blake Bortles as 5-1 odds-on favorite to lead the league in interceptions this year.
Yeah,
I can see
he
that.
gets a lot of defensive backs in the numbers.
Yep.
Well, there was even a tweet that one of his quarterbacks liked this week. I saw it on Twitter as a report. It was a report of 6 quarterbacks that would be better for the Jaguars, and his own quarterback liked the poll, or it wasn't a poll, it was an article. But you know you're in trouble when you have your teammates not standing behind you. I think if there's a hype sort of something to look out for in the season, I think Blake Bortles actually would be my pick, because that's going to be I honestly don't think he'll make it through the season as the starter.
Who's their backup? But I will say my pick for the South will actually be Tennessee as well.
Okay.
So maybe not a stretch pick if more than
66% of the sports reform. But remember, our show is not about predictions. It's about reforming sports. So this is this is uncharted territory for us.
We're making changes.
Jaguars. They have Chad Henne and Brandon Allen.
He might make it through the season because there ain't anybody else.
Yep. All right. Do we have callers lined up?
Yeah, there were a couple people have called in. We're going to hold off on the phone calls again just for a little minute.
All right.
We probably just ticked off a few
Jaguars.
Texan fans as well.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, in that case, we'll move on quickly. We'll go to the AFC North next. Obviously, the Ravens, Steelers, Browns. I want to forget the Bengals.
Bengals.
All right. So, Jeff, we'll go back to you. Who do you like to win this division this year?
Steelers running away with it quite literally with Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
I think I could give it to the Steelers. I think for me, though, the Bengals, I feel like they have a strong case for a wild card this year, but I don't think I feel confident giving them the division.
No. I think it would not surprise me if Pittsburgh goes somewhere in the 12-4 range, give or take a win or two. But actually, I think the Bengals would be a 6 seed, just kind of examining the land, or at least the way I see it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals snuck in as a 6 seed, maybe at 9-6 or 10 or 9-7, 10-6.
Is this Andy Dalton and Green's first breakthrough year? I mean, they've been together 4 years?
Something like that. But so I picked same here. Steelers to win, and I would put I
haven't locked in my wild card pick yet. I could change that throughout the discussion. I reserve the right to not have that inked down yet.
Other than maybe Le'Veon Bell, perhaps making a good case as a rushing title, maybe.
So you guys both going Pitt? Was that
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Sorry, I'm trying to interact with our fans out there.
Yep.
We have fans. Wow.
Or at least
right.
people. We have people commenting on the YouTube feed so far.
Excellent. Well, as long as they're not trolls, which they might be, we don't know.
They're probably trolling us, right?
There's somebody else plugging his page, but there's some other comments going out there.
Yeah, as long as we're moving forward the sports conversation, that's what we're out to do.
All right. So, do you guys see any major stories coming out of this division? Maybe Osweiler went to the Browns, right?
Right.
He got exiled to Cleveland.
All right, the Browns maybe winning more than 4 games. That would be a pretty big story.
It would be. I can't remember the last. Well, no, they made the playoffs 2000.
Yeah, when they had Anderson.
Yeah, it was 2007, I believe.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I was looking through them beforehand, trying to think of sort of hype things, and this is a division that to me is just kind of bland.
Yeah, it's vanilla.
Yeah. How long is Flacco's out, right?
Yeah, we're professionals. We should
Right,
know this
because
off
there
the
was
top
a
of
talk about Baltimore why aren't they signing Kaepernick?
Well, I think he's kryptonite.
Right. Well, I don't think we need to open that can of worms. That has been well documented on the internet. But there was talks. Why isn't Baltimore signing him? So that to me means Flacco's out.
Yeah. So now, this is not. I don't mean this to be political or anything, but I think Kaepernick anymore suffers from what I call the Tebow syndrome. If you look at his numbers from last year, they were awful.
It was
Awful.
31st and 32nd in pretty much all the passing categories.
And if you, so somebody posted, I forgot, it was ESPN or something, that had the breakdown of his numbers per quarter. His fourth quarter stats were great when they were down by multiple touchdowns.
And nobody bothered playing defense.
His third quarter passing percentage was like 38 or 40%.
Which
To
will
put that
not
into
make it.
perspective, you could get some bum out of Section 204.
Out of the press box, who's supposed to be calling games.
Yeah, and they could have a similar. I mean, heck, even a check down. All right. So let's move on quickly to the AFC West. Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, and the Raiders, which I'm not giving them any more publicity than they need. Okay, so Scott, back to you. Who do you like winning this division?
This one's another tough one, but opposite from what we've had with the AFC South. I think that there are some good teams here. I could see one, even possibly two wild cards getting in from this division. I think right now, and this is more of a gut instinct pick than really based off stats, but the Raiders, just from the news and kind of the vibe that I've gotten from, and I know I might be trusting the media a little bit too much, but I think with what they've done throughout the offseason, bringing in Lynch, having Carr with the contract, I think that they're setting themselves up for a good season. And I think that with having that energy going into the season is going to give them the division. Now, I know that's more gut-based than stat-based, so forgive me. I'll have some other stats for some of the other ones, but that one for me is... I know it's a little sketchy, but I'm going to pin that one in.
Well, I went ahead. I took Oakland. I mean, they were cruising to the playoffs, and then Carr breaks his hand. So they fell apart. So as long as Carr stays healthy, that team will do fine.
Either way, he's getting paid.
Yeah, it's true. I don't see the Chiefs, their run of dominance in that division lasting. The Broncos not having named a starting quarterback yet, that scares me.
Yeah, I don't see. And this comes from a guy actually wearing a Broncos jersey. I think at best they are a 500 team.
And I would love for Melvin Gordon to do well in one of my keeper leagues. Just because I was a late season trade to pick him up, but
Although from what I understand, their rookie tight end Jake Butt, you have to say it like that, right?
from Michigan,
he's apparently top 2 or 3 on the team in jersey sales, just because who wouldn't want a number 80 with the word "Butt" on the back?
right? All the middle schoolers can wear.
I mean,
My jersey says Butt. Who's your pick out west?
I'm actually going to go with the Chiefs to win. And I know we just talked about, you don't see their run of dominance. But the reason and the Raiders, by the way, are my second wild card team. But I think this is going to be, a 13-3, 12-4 type situation where, your 5 seed has a better record than your 3 and 4 seeds, which will probably lead to, should we seed the playoffs based on record and not divisional,
That would be a good reform topic.
Yes, it would. But
Next episode.
yeah, but anyway, actually, I think the Chiefs, because remember, the Chiefs were pretty dominant last year. I mean, with a couple of exceptions.
Right.
But the reason why I say it's, again, coming from a Broncos fan, take this with a grain of salt. It's the Raiders. They tend to shoot themselves in the foot, whether intentionally or unintentionally. With Carr breaking his hand or something like that. And so I think they'll do something will happen to the Raiders, whether self-inflicted or not.
So you said KC is wild. Who's your other wild card team?
The Bengals.
The Bengals. Scott, who'd you have in the wild card?
I think I'm going to go back. I mentioned it as a possibility, but I'm going to lock in the Bengals, and I think I'm going to say the Chiefs. I'm not as confident with the Chiefs, but just looking at the conference, I think the Chiefs are my most confident out of the remainders.
I think KC definitely makes the playoffs. I'm right there with y'all. I don't think they win the division. Do you see 2 out of the West maybe?
That could be a possibility. Well,
the Chargers one more run in the sun?
maybe. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't think the Chargers have it in them, especially with the move. I think it could have
Right.
other
Now
ramifications.
playing in a 30,000 seat soccer stadium.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't want to make too much of that because I mean it's still football. You're playing on the ground, but there are other surroundings. There's going to be a little bit of change in the feel of the team, and I think that there can be off the field distractions throughout the season with that.
I'm going to take Houston as the second wild card for me. It's a South is weak, so they can get a free maybe couple wins there and make a run out of it. So, all right, you guys want to go to the NFC here?
All right, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We'll go to the NFC. We'll start in the East again. So NFC East, which includes Dallas. We'll talk about realignment later. The Eagles, Redskins, and the Giants. Scott, who you got?
This is another one. I talk about parity. There's
Actually, let me ask this.
who
Are you not going to pick the Cowboys? Hold your nose and say it.
Yeah. I'll give it to them. It's going to be a media circus. They always are. Whether or not they actually win a playoff game is going to be the biggest story of the year for them.
Really not Ezekiel Elliott 6-game suspension?
I feel like if they can just get to the playoffs and win a game in the playoffs, it will rewrite their season for them.
You know, actually, something's interesting. Right now, Dallas is 15-1 odds to win the Super Bowl this year, but in front of them are the Seahawks, the Packers, the Cardinals, and the Panthers from their own conference.
Let's say their first 6 games is the Giants. That'll be a tough game. It's
Yeah,
always divisional.
yeah, it will.
But then they get the Broncos with
Is that home or away?
it's away, but no quarterback.
I was going to say a question mark for
Yeah.
quarterback right
I
now.
mean,
The Cardinals is tough, but then you get the Rams, you get the 49ers. The Packers are in there. Who knows what the Packers offense will look like? It's been on the decline. That's 1, 2. Oh man, it went away on me. Sorry. But yes, it's not a horrible schedule. They could come out of there 500.
but yeah, I could see that.
I mean, you get a
Yeah,
Broncos, Rams, 49ers. There's 3 right there.
and truth be told, I mean, the Giants game I think will be an interesting litmus test.
Yeah.
Well, because obviously you're starting the season off against a divisional opponent, and actually, I think the Broncos will be a larger test for them than they think. I still think they'll probably win that game, but going into Mile High is always a pretty tough road trip.
Yeah.
Just the nature of it, but that to me will be, obviously you got Denver's defense is still really good. I mean, their offense is, miserably mediocre at best. And so, really, that's how will they do against a good defense? That's going to be...
I mean, they still have decent running backs with Alfred Morris.
Yeah.
And, for the third string. But he has some straight ahead power.
Yeah, yeah.
So is that your pick, them boys?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it, even though it pains
Yeah.
me.
All right,
Same-
and for
same.
you?
Yeah, I take the Cowboys.
I have an interesting thought with the East here.
All right.
You have Kirk Cousins, who will not be a Redskin next year.
No, but he's about to get paid.
Have you seen any of the videos coming out of camp with him and Terrell Pryor?
I have not personally.
Pryor's making these catches. Pryor had a good year on the Browns with no quarterback. Like, how many quarterbacks did they have last year in the first 7 weeks? Wasn't it 5?
17? I don't know.
And he was one of them. So that was the thing. The Redskins throw it deep. They never had a deep target. Now they got Pryor who can stretch the D. Cousins loves to throw the ball.
Yeah, he's got a cannon for an arm.
They might not have a great defense. They did have some good picks or some young picks coming out of Alabama on the defensive line.
Which those boys are going to be ready.
Right. So they're a team that might surprise you.
Yeah, I actually have him penciled into a wild card spot on
So
my board.
my
Well, you're
bold
going to have to
pick
mark it
is-
down in a pin in a second.
My bold pick is it's going to be the Redskins.
The Redskins.
Taking the
Nice.
East. And if anybody's out there listening, I know I got some Redskins fans that have talked with us. That one's for you guys.
All right, cool. Let's go then to the NFC South: Saints, Falcons, Panthers, and Buccaneers. Jeff, who do you got?
ATL, I mean.
Yeah, we're
Yep.
from the ATL.
Yep.
They only got better in the offseason.
That's true. That's very true. Now, do you think if they make it back to the Super Bowl,
Never forget
I'm
23
sorry, I'm
and
sorry,
7.
I have to go here.
You look at Clemson, they got beat by Alabama, came back the next year. I know
Yeah.
college pro is very different,
Yes.
but,
No, but
it's
the
essentially the
experience.
same team coming back plus 3 or 4 new guys for the Falcons.
And just the experience of being there and having gone through it, you get that first time
Yeah.
jitters out of the way. You can come back saying, okay, we've done this before.
Yeah.
And you can have the confidence of, we played a really good 3 quarters of football. We just have to do one more, and
Right.
then we'll.
60 minutes.
Yeah,
And
and-
halftime doesn't count.
And your offensive coordinator that ran the ball 5 times after you were up by 25, he's no longer there.
Right.
He got exiled to San Francisco.
So, yeah, at ATL, Scott.
ATL all the way.
Yeah.
I've gotten to see. I actually happen to live
Falcons.
very close to the training facility,
Yeah.
and just the buzz, even in that area. It's Flowery Branch, a little town outside of Atlanta. There was a training day, or not a training day, but like I guess one of their open practices a few Saturdays ago, and you wouldn't believe the amount of people in this small little town. It took my wife and I an hour just to get past the facility. We were made the mistake of taking the wrong road to get to where we were going, but I think Atlanta's got not only the strong team, but just the atmosphere with it, and like you said, more weapons coming in this year. It's going to be hard to stop them.
And you're going to have the energy of the new stadium.
Yeah, actually, I think that's going to be the biggest, or one of the biggest storylines from this division is the Falcons' new $1 billion stadium.
With Chick-fil-A,
Although, they announced today, even the Chick-fil-A inside the stadium will be closed on Sundays.
Which I was kind of surprised at because there is a certain Chick-fil-A that is open on Sundays.
Yeah.
In the
dwarf-
airport.
the Dwarf House.
Yeah.
Well,
And
the airport
so-
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
some of the dwarf houses.
Yeah.
Are,
Well, those are a
open
little
Sunday.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you got to think there's 21 events in that stadium before the end of the year. Only 11 are football.
Yep.
So
I mean,
you have
it-
high school football. You have the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
The Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic. They're going to be open for those games. So.
Oh, yeah. But they actually made it. For those of you not in Atlanta, they made a pretty big deal about it
Yeah.
on the news today. That
What
oh,
I
the-
want to know
the stadium
is
is closed.
Chick-fil-A included in the non-price gouging food?
I would hope so.
I would hope so, but
I mean, maybe they could keep. I mean, obviously, Chick-fil-A is not the cheapest of,
Right.
of fast food joints. But yeah, I mean, if it's still the same, whatever $3.29 it is for
Yeah.
a chicken sandwich, I mean.
all right, if it's 5 something, I'm gonna have some issues with Chick-fil-A. But all right, moving on.
All right. Oh, by the way, I have the Panthers as my second wild card.
We'll come back to the wild card.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
cool. All right, NFC North. Duh, Bears.
Don't make it.
I'm wearing the get up. I
And
support my
the
team. I'm not a
Packers,
fair
the
weather fan.
Lions,
So
and-
the Bears.
No, I wish I could say the Bears, and I am hopefully optimistic about the season. I think the Bears could get 8 wins, which for me would be a victory for this season, especially with the young talent that we've got. We've had a lot of transition.
I would consider it a win if they could get their 4 picks back.
Too soon.
That has to be the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals.
Yeah, it was awful. I hate the Packers so much.
You hate everybody
but-
in that division. You're a Bears fan.
The thing is I understand more of the history with the Vikings and the Lions, and I can respect those teams. But Aaron Rodgers has been a thorn in my side. And before that, we had Brett Favre as a thorn in my side.
Brett Favre.
I hate to give it to the Packers, but stupid cheeseheads. There's no other way. They win the division. As long as they have Aaron Rodgers and no other team in that division has a defense to stop him. The Bears lost our defense to stop him back in 2008 or 9, effectively. After that, we got old and we didn't rebuild well.
Yep. And honestly, if there's a conference or division, in the NFC that mirrors the AFC East, it's the NFC North. I honestly see the Packers at 12 and 4.
So that makes
13
the
and 3.
Bears the Dolphins.
So I think there's just too many unknowns. Bridgewater's knee coming back.
Yeah.
The Lions are always a crapshoot. You never know exactly what you're going to get. You'll get 3 games of brilliance followed by 4 weeks of suffering.
Just 4?
Well, no, because then they'll have another game or two of
That's
Burlington.
true.
I mean, there's like no middle ground for Lions fans.
Yeah, maybe if they could convince Megatron to come out of retirement, highly doubtful.
Right. And the Bears just already known. So it'll be the Packers, but I don't think it's the Packers of old.
All right. So just for just kind of a storyline, will Trubinsky start a game this year?
Oh, I say for sure
Who's
he will.
the other one is
Gannon, McGannon. I'm between
Yeah.
that.
Mike Glennon?
Glennon.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, how's your
wow.
offensive line looking? Is it going to be because Glennon gets injured?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
See, that's how
Okay,
uncertain I am with the name.
all right.
I'm already
let me
ready to put in the
rephrase
rookie.
that question. Will the Bears install Trubinsky as the starter?
As of right now, a report
If-
I read earlier today says Fox is not making any changes to the depth chart as of now.
So that's
And
not
with-
saying for the
if
with-
Glennon does not get injured, will Trubinsky start a game this year?
I think he will. I think Fox will kind of warm up to him, but yeah, I could speak more about Fox as our head coach, but I think I'll leave that one live for now.
Yeah.
All right.
And to the west, I got Packers all around.
Packers.
Yeah.
All right, to the west.
We're a
49ers.
lot closer on this than I thought we'd be. I thought there'd be a little bit more tension here.
49ers, Seahawks, Cardinals. And
I want the
Rams.
fort now.
Yeah. If there's anyone out there picking the 49ers, you best call in just a minute and give us a reason why. For me, it's the Cardinals.
I actually agree. Cardinals.
Are we going to leave it as simple as that or give any more
Well,
The
exposition?
Seahawks will give them a run for their money,
yes, I agree.
but I think this is the Cardinals. They realize this is one of their last shots at it before they need some major restructuring. So,
And actually, I think coming down to the line, I think you're going to see probably a 3 or 4 team race for the wild card spots, and I think Seattle's just going to miss out.
really,
Crazy bold prediction for the NFC. The Seahawks will fail to make the playoffs this year. Of course, watch them go 15-1 and win the Super Bowl, and I feel like an idiot, but
Hey, that's why we're writing this down is so we
Yeah,
can
so
give
we
each other
can-
flack. It's not
Right.
to see if we're right or not.
No,
it's
no.
to see who's wrong.
right?
But yeah, Carson Palmer, I think he's got. If this isn't his last gasp, then I.
Right.
You got to think
And
some of their
Fitzy.
other weapons. I was going to say Fitzgerald.
Fitzy,
And how long can Johnson go on that beating?
I think he's pretty close.
Did I
to
mention
done
he
as
won
well.
me our fantasy league last year?
Thank you, but no, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So who are your 2 wild cards?
I have the Panthers and I have the Redskins.
Okay, Scott.
I'm giving it to the Seahawks. I want to give it to the Bears so bad, but I'm not that.
Stubborn.
I'm not that good. I'm actually gonna go over to the Giants. I know that's kind of a true wild card in that aspect, but I think they're one of those teams that we talked about it before. Their division. I know Jeff, you gave a little bit more credit to the Redskins. I don't give them that much, and I definitely don't give the Eagles anything, except that they're about as much as a circus as some of the other teams we've talked about. But I think I give the Giants a little bit more of an edge.
My first one, I think, will be the Cowboys. I think once they get Zeke back, they go. It'll be very interesting, I think, to see the Saints and Seahawks battle it out. Because the Saints now you've added AP, had a year off. I think that does huge things for athletes. When you look at the hockey players that when they had a strike were able to extend their career by 5 years.
Yep.
So he's looking good. Seattle, I think Breeze says he wants to play till like he's 45 or something. I don't see that happening, but he doesn't get hit a whole lot right now.
They've always protected him really
Yeah.
well, too.
I know they've been
his
in-
longevity's been good.
They've been in cap hell for a few years now, which is hurting them the most.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting. I think the Seattle edge them out, just getting to play in the West, and they get to play the Rams, and the 49ers will tip them over. So
Well, we currently have 4 viewers watching.
yeah, all right.
So we probably could open up the phone lines and
All right. So
we had a few
while we're
callers.
waiting on some calls, we'll talk briefly. Who do you think will be in the Super Bowl, and who do you think will win the Super Bowl? Scott, we'll start with you.
We talked about this. There was an article on, I believe it was through NFL memes on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken. I guess that's through Daily Snark, I guess is the one that does it. But there was a percentage, and it showed the percentage of Tom Brady's Super Bowl appearances next to Russell Westbrook's field goal percentage. Tom Brady has made the Super Bowl in his career 44% of the time, where Russell Westbrook's field goal percentage, it was lifetime, if I'm not mistaken, it was 43%. So Tom Brady has a better chance of making it to the Super Bowl than Russell Westbrook has of making a shot. I don't see how I can see in a few years where the Patriots taper off, but I think Roger Goodell is going to get another middle finger from Belichick and Brady this year with them making it to the Super Bowl.
So you get New England?
I'm saying New England in the Super Bowl.
Who they playing?
That's the biggest problem that I have. It's only happened, I believe, twice where there's been a rematch. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's only been twice.
Super Bowl, and one of those was Super Bowl 1 and 2.
Yeah. But I think we talked about it with the Falcons. I think they're strong enough, and I think even with the heartbreak of last season, they've got the maturity as a team and coaching staff to make it, and now even the playoff experience, because they're not one of the teams that just burst through the playoffs, in their first year and made it to the Super Bowl after, having a 10-year slump. They've been a perennial playoff team for the past 5, 6, 7 years. I think they have the ability to go the distance. So I say Falcons, Patriots.
And the winner?
Unfortunately, the Patriots.
Repeat.
I do not like dynasties, but you can't argue with the result, and I hate the GOAT term. I do not like greatest of all time, and I really don't like attributing it to either Belichick or Brady, but I can't argue with their results.
All right, so who do you have going to the Super Bowl?
I like the Steelers from the AFC, only because I think their running game is honest to me right now. Until I see otherwise, I think they probably have the best rushing attack in the NFL. I really think that I'm going to go a little bit of a stretch here with the NFC, and I'm going to pick one of my wild card teams.
Finish this train of thought.
I'm going to go with the Redskins.
The Skins make it to the bowl.
Yeah.
Well, that'll make the Redskins fans real happy out there.
Go big or go home.
We're throwing the bones tonight.
That being said,
Are you willing to lay juice boxes on it?
that being said, I think the Steelers will actually win the Super Bowl. Just because if it comes down to between, if you got to win one game, would you rather have a reliable rushing attack or the deep ball threat?
Right.
And to me, I would go with the rushing attack. But so there's kind of my crazy prediction. So I'm going to go Steelers over Redskins.
All right, I'll go slight. I guess we'll all have different teams in the AFC. I'm going to go Oakland taking the AFC Championship. I think Atlanta gets back to it, and I think Atlanta beats Oakland. So I'll have the only NFC winner. You guys both pick some AFC teams. But yeah, I think Oakland's going to get hot this year and kind of ride it out. Marshawn Lynch really wants to put up for the city. He's done a lot there.
All right. So I have a fascinating stat, and that is 7 of the last 8 Super Bowl champions started out in the preseason between 14-1 and 22-1 odds favorites. This year, that group, according to, and I guess this is current, because this is what Google gave me. Right now, that group of teams is the Cardinals, the Panthers, the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Broncos, surprisingly, and the Colts.
Well, I think we've all got some picks in there that could work out for us.
Yeah.
Whether or not
Actually,
that comes
the Broncos
to
at 20-1 kind of surprised me, given as much disarray as that offense is in right now. At least with the quarterback.
You still have a defense, though.
Yeah.
So. All right, so guys, if you're out there and you want to call in, the phone number is 530-377-6787. More simply, 5303-SPORTS. Call in. Let's get the prediction of how you think your team will do this year. Record, playoffs, and your Super Bowl winner. Yeah. All right, so your favorite team, their record, playoffs, no playoffs, and then a Super Bowl Bowl winner. When you call in, you just keep it FCC friendly. We appreciate that here on the Sports Reform.
Yep. PG is a pretty good rating for us.
I mean, we could probably go PG-13 minus the 2 free words you get.
The 2 that you're only allowed to use one time.
Right. So we did have some people calling in earlier. So if you guys want to try again, go ahead and call us back.
We don't have a fancy call screening program.
Yeah, pretty much. I get to see the call service.
Yeah.
Well, while we're waiting on a phone call, do we want to shift over real quick to some NCAA?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go over a couple of prop bets just to keep it kind of with the NFL theme.
We'll leave
and
it
then
for
if we
there.
get some call, then we can go after. All right. From the, I believe this is MGM Grand. Most wins by any team at 13.5, and it's over under. So Scott, we'll go with you. Do you think you taking the over or the under? Or you can push, I guess, with a tie if the team goes 13-2-1.
I actually believe there will be a few ties this season, especially with the changes.
The shorter of time.
We'll get to that in a minute.
I actually don't see the Patriots doing it, though. One thing, I know the Patriots, I give them credit for being able to make it to the Super Bowl a lot, but their records, other than the 18-1, emphasize the 1 there.
Not about the 18. It's about the 1.
They haven't had very many seasons where they win or lose just 1 or 2. They normally have 4 to 5.
Yeah, usually they're like the 13-3, 12-4 range.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I guess I shouldn't say 5, but yeah, they normally drop a few, so I don't think I can give them more than that. I think this year they're probably going to go 12-4, be their record. I think I could actually give it to the Falcons though this year, and since they're my pick going back in. Their offense, and like we said, making some additions with the younger blood. I think they've got the weapons
All right, so
this
you think
year.
the Falcons will win 14 games at least?
I do. I think 14-2 because they will have some tough divisional games. They always have a problem going to the Dome, and even the Panthers can trip them up. Mm-hmm. Even on the Panthers' worst seasons. I believe, could be wrong in this, is that the South that's still the only division that hasn't had a back-to-back winner, or did that get broken?
It got broken with the Panthers, I believe.
Panthers, okay. Must have been a few seasons ago.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, what do you think? You think there will be a 14-2 or better team this year in the NFL?
I don't think so. It's parity in the NFL is there. So.
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually taking the under as well. I think we're going to see a couple 13-3 teams, but I don't think anybody's going to get to 14. All right, so we can take the opposite of that. Most losses by any team at 13.5.
Which team has Cutler again?
All right, Jeff, we'll start with you this time. Over under 13.5 losses for the losingest team in the league.
Yeah. You got too many teams vying for it. Sorry, if you guys are trying to call in, I'm not seeing the phone calls. I'm not sure why. I'm going to try restarting that line real quick. Just bear with us. We tested earlier. It did work. But I think the 49ers could be an over that number with losses. The Browns could be an over that with losses.
I think the Jaguars could even be there easily.
Yeah.
I think if there's a team right now that I'm looking at that has enough chaos going on, the Jaguars would be it for me, but yeah. I don't necessarily think I could state a specific team, but I think it would be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually agree too. I think you're going to see a team at 2-14 this year.
Yeah,
and the teams that we said, I'm sure those were our callers earlier. There, we have a diehard Jags fan out there that's ready to rip us.
Yeah, all right.
I say, is our certain fantasy football commissioner possibly listening to this? All right, so if you guys want to try calling in, all right, we got one caller on the line. That was great timing. All right, can you hear us on the phone? And who do we got? What's your name?
Psycho Dan.
Hey, Psycho Dan.
Psycho Dan again.
How you doing?
Great. I got one word of advice to you guys. Don't ever start gambling.
We don't lay any juice boxes on this show.
We are using PIN, though.
Yeah, I think you guys are underestimating teams and overestimating some teams, too.
All right. So let me ask, who is your NFL team, then?
Say again?
Who is your NFL team?
Don't ask. I got two. I'm originally from Cleveland. I'm a Browns fan. Moved down to Jacksonville. Jags are my second team, and both won't win 4 games.
All right, bold prediction. So you would
I
actually
don't think that's that bold of a prediction.
yeah, bold-ish. So you would actually take if you were in Vegas and you see the most losses by any team at 13.5, you'd actually take the under.
Yes, I'd take the under on both. The Jags don't have a quarterback, and the Browns don't have a team.
And that's some tough love, but you know what? It's coming from a fan of the team that it's true.
Yeah, I mean, you're allowed to hate on your own team because if you hate on your own team, at least you still care.
All right, so we'll ask then, who do you have in the Super Bowl?
I haven't thought that far out because I want to see teams play, but I think Oakland is a solid AFC team. They would have made a great playoff run if Carr didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think his injury just did him in last year.
I mean, they gave him a pretty lucrative contract, I think, because of that.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, with the receivers they have, if Lynch can provide anything, that's a lean, mean machine on offense.
Yeah. Yep. That is very true.
I agree. So,
but I think the wild card teams will come out of the West. There's nothing in the East, only one team in the South. I think you guys aren't giving the Texans any love. The Texans are a complete team if they get any kind of decent quarterback play. And I mean by that, just a quarterback that can manage the game and not throw picks.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you think, along that lines, do you think Deshaun Watson will, see the field this year? And if so, how do you think he'll do?
I think he'll do fine. I think Prescott with the Cowboys did good last year, and Watson can do the same thing in Houston because he's not going to be asked to throw the ball 40 times a game and force it. He's going to be managed the game. And he can make plays with his leg like Wilson does with Seattle.
That's very true.
Well, do you have any surprising picks or anything, any hype you're looking out of the NFC?
NFC, I think the Cowboys will be fine without Zeke. They'll manage to get through it, and then they're going to get hot in that. The Packers are holding on. I don't know how many more years they got left in them. I think you guys are not giving Trubisky any love and any credit. I think that's a good move by the Bears.
I think his coach isn't giving him love and credit either.
if Fox could give him the reins.
Fox went through the Tim Tebow mania, but Trubisky he can complete upwards of 65% of his passes. He's way more accurate, and that's what's going to be seen as he continues to play.
Yeah, right now I think Trubinsky's jersey is the #1 selling jersey on NFL.com, which gives me hope as a Bears fan. Well, the hype is real.
Well, there's a huge difference between Trubisky and Tebow. Tebow, when Fox had him in Denver, he couldn't complete 60% of his passes.
No,
but Mitch will be able.
Yeah, he was a check down quarterback at best.
At best, yes. But he does have an NFL playoff win to his name, and.
Yeah, he does. He does. we won't short Tim Tebow, obviously, even if it was a bit of a miracle.
So I think the Bears are my surprise pick.
Well, that gives me hope.
Scott's a happy man now. All right. Well, thank you very much for calling in. We're gonna open up the next caller. So if you guys want to go ahead and call back in, somebody did try calling in just then. I'm sorry, we don't have call waiting. It looks like we had somebody from the 904 area code. So if you want to,
North Florida, Jacksonville area.
So if the Jacksonville area wants to call back in,
oh yeah,
all right,
another caller.
Back in. All right, welcome to the Sports Reform. Who do we got on the line?
This is Papa T.
Papa T.
All right.
I like it with the nicknames. That
should be
I think.
All right, so
yeah.
So let's
I
ask
think
you.
Y'all have missed it totally. The Jets are going to bring back. I think you missed it totally. The Jets are going to bring back. Bring back Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez.
Well, the Bears are holding tight to Sanchez for now, which is giving me a little bit of a sweat on my brow. Well, let's jump in, Papa T. Who do you have? Well, actually, first let me back up. Who's your favorite team, and do you have any hopes for them this season?
Well, I'm a Bears and Falcons fan.
So two out of the NFC. We've talked a little bit about the Bears, even with our last caller. What do you see in the Falcons that gives you some hope for this season?
Well, I think they got better in defense, and I think they have a great offense. So I'm looking forward to them. Looking forward to them winning the NFC again.
All right. So do you think they'll actually win the Super Bowl this year? Then, if they win the NFC, obviously they're in the Super Bowl.
Well, they're due somebody
That's right.
to make a stupid coaching decision against them, like they did against the Patriots.
The city of Atlanta, I think, is due. But
All right. So, well, let me ask this then: who do you think they'll face in the Super Bowl?
Oh, me. I'm actually kind of going with JT. I think Pittsburgh might be the team to beat.
Pittsburgh.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
All right. Some love for the Steelers.
The Steelers have such a good
Yeah,
history. I think
do.
they're always in the discussion.
Oh,
really,
yeah.
and you got Tomlin is a great coach.
Yeah, he is.
absolutely.
All right, so I'll ask you kind of an oddball question. Do you think there's going to be any huge surprises come out of the NFL this year, whether it be like a player or just a team that comes out of nowhere and goes 13-3?
Wow. I actually think that Deshaun Watson is going to get to play, and I think he's actually going to turn out to be a pretty good player.
I mean,
hey, he took down Bama.
yeah. I think he has the potential, but I don't know how he's going to read a complicated defense.
Well, Bama's as good a practice as any, I would suppose.
Or are they just hey, we have athletes that we can run two lines deep?
I think a little bit of both. I mean, honestly, I think Nick Saban is the Bill Belichick of college.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, definitely not the Bill Belichick of the NFL, but the Bill Belichick of the NCAA.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask one more question there, Papa T. I know we probably should have done this too with Psycho Dan, but just a quick touch on college. Do you have any hopes this year for your college team?
Not until we get a new coach.
Well, actually, let's.
Okay, who is
Yeah, I
your
should
college
say.
team?
Who is your college team? So we know who we're talking about.
I think his name is Muschamp.
This is
Carolina.
South Kakalaka.
South Carolina.
Wow, not a lot of people. Not a lot of people openly admit that.
Well, I think.
especially in Bulldogs country.
Well, I'm thinking that the Clemson Tigers have the market right now. I think a lot of the Gamecock fans are pretty silent there. But what do you think for the Gamecocks? We know the SEC is pretty tough. I'll ask just one more question. But what do you think it takes to win the SEC for them? Other than the new coach.
Other than 11 cases of food poisoning, team-wide food poisoning, that isn't it South Carolina?
Oh, wow. Well, we do have a good quarterback prospect that's playing. I think his name's Blakely. No, not Blakely.
Oh, we're getting a little bit of feedback there.
Or maybe it's Bentley.
Okay.
And he's pretty good.
I was going to say I don't know
I don't know about our defense.
Yeah, I think the SEC is always going to be a tough one, really, no matter how your offense and defense stack up. I know I saw recently with the report, though, South Carolina, their quarterback actually got ranked higher than Georgia's quarterback. It's one of those preseason rankings.
Well, if you listen to the interviews and post practice conferences with Georgia's coach, drawing a blank on his name, he's not spoken too highly of their quarterback, and normally it's like uplifting, and he's been pretty much a straight shooter. So, I mean, it might be coming from that where South Carolina's getting the nudge. So
I like it. Cool.
Well, we thank you so much, Papa T, for the call. We're going to move on. We've got one more caller here, but thank you so much.
yeah, thank you, Papa T.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, so go ahead and call back in. We had a few guys try to call in during that phone call.
We
So
need to invest in like a call screening program or
call
something.
screening program that would completely go against our motto of cheap, but
it would,
our
it would.
unofficial motto of cheap. But yeah, if you were trying to call in, go ahead and call back in. I think there's about a 6-7
All right,
second
so
delay.
actually, now that we kind of pivoted or at least touched on college, we'll kind of go towards that, and then we'll still ask callers about NFL predictions. All right, so Jeff, we'll start with you. You're wearing
The Ohio State.
So I'm going to take it that you are, in fact, an Illinois fan. No,
Yeah, I think Ohio State wins the Big Ten. I don't think we go the whole way, though, with JT, quarterback, unless he progresses. He has definitely regressed since freshman year.
So do you think, well, A, will they make the
Yeah.
college football playoffs? Will they win a game? In other words, will they actually play for the national title?
I think it depends. We'll get back to this discussion. We'll take this phone call. All right. Welcome to the Sports Reform. Who do we got on the line?
This would be Dapper Dan.
What up, Dapper Dan?
I like it.
Excellent. These nicknames are great.
Apparently, we did not know this, but it's a requirement to have a nickname when you call into our show. But I like this trend.
All right, Dapper Dan,
Never
who
give
is
out
your team?
real name.
Yep.
That's true.
My team is the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they have been a disappointment. But
You're probably in the
is
case
life.
with a lot of their other fans. Well, do you see any glimmers of hope for them? It seems like they've been constantly rebuilding. What do you see positive going on for them?
well, the last couple of years, they have very much improved the defense through the draft. I think from a leadership standpoint, getting Jalen Ramsey last year, bringing in A.J. Boye from the Texans, they're building the pieces. Calais Campbell is a good sign. Yannick Ngakoue, the third-round draft pick, he looks really good. I think he's going to be a star. But you live and die off your quarterback, and Blake Bortles, unfortunately, is a lot like Tampa Bay's quarterback a couple years ago, Josh Freeman, where he had one really big season, especially for fantasy football fans. And then the next year, everyone expected him to be good, and he tanked.
Well, let me ask you this
unfortunately,
one.
I think Bortles. Yep.
How do you feel about Kirk Cousins in a Jaguars jersey next season?
That might actually be intriguing.
That would actually probably be a good move. I think I'm not too big on the Washington team this year, but I think that Cousins, he's going to get paid next year.
Right.
It's been a long time since a premier NFL quarterback hit the open market, and that's going to be an interesting thing to develop. I mean, yeah, it was kind of a big deal when Peyton Manning hit the market, but in a lot of ways he was damaged goods, and he did the smartest thing he could do, which was sign with the best defense he could sign with Denver.
Yeah.
And as JT knows, it very much paid off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's something where if you're a guy like Kirk Cousins, when you're a free agent next year, yeah, Jacksonville might be good, but I mean, depending on how things go in Denver, he might try to go to Denver.
Right.
But depending on the salary cap situation. But the NFL really kind of gave everyone cap money.
Yep.
All right. So just to follow up, how long do you think Blake Bortles will last in Jacksonville? Do you think, he'll be on the roster, say, next season or the season after?
If things are really going as badly as what I've been reading, and I haven't been able to watch the game tonight. From what I hear, it didn't go well while he was out there. But that also leads to my NFC sleeper team, which would be Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to be really good, but I don't think Bortles is on the team next year. I think they'll keep Chad Henne as a backup, and they'll probably draft another quarterback. And next year might be a year full of good quarterbacks. They say that every year, and then there only ends up being 3 that end up looking good, and only one of those guys might pan out.
Okay.
Quarterbacks are a crapshoot for whatever reason. It's hard to find a good one, so when you do, you lock him up, which is kind of why I'm surprised Washington hasn't been able to lock up Cousins, unless he's thinking about signing with San Francisco next year and reuniting with Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, there's been that rumor floating around a lot.
Well, that's actually a lot of what I've read say that's why the Dolphins got Cutler, because they have Adam Gates, his old OC in Chicago.
Well, you mentioned your sleeper pick.
And that's exactly right. I mean, if you're looking at a team, it's all about your scheme and your offense. And if you're treating a quarterback with season-ending injury, you got to get a guy who can keep your team afloat. And that's exactly what they did. And I don't know if Cutler's not going to be that great or not, but if he's even decent, they'll still finish second in the AFC East. The AFC East is terrible.
Right.
It's the Patriots and scrubs.
The one nice thing is it's only a 1-year deal from a Dolphins fan perspective.
Yeah, I mean that is
You're
right.
not giving your life
Yeah, that is an
over.
excellent deal from the Dolphins.
Right.
If he's terrible, you just play Matt Moore.
Yeah.
You know, $10 million in the grand scheme of things. NFL quarterbacks are getting paid $20 to $25 million a year now.
Right.
Not even the ones that aren't very good. And even $18 million a year. Although in the Bears' defense, that is a heavily front-loaded deal that they can get out of without too much cap damage after this year.
Right.
So
I'm just worried. Actually, for the Bears, my biggest worry is when you trade away that many draft picks, it's going to haunt you 3 to 4 years down the road, like it did with the Falcons and Julio Jones, where they were just
it'll hurt them. The Falcons managed to get away with it, but Washington took a major nosedive because
with the RG3.
from a depth perspective.
From the RG3 trade, yeah.
And if the Rams had a better GM and coach combination, they would have taken advantage of that trade. But they did not.
It's all intricate and all in together. Well, I wanted to jump back in real quick. I know you had your sleeper picks for the NFC, but I was kind of curious to see if we could get your picks for who do you think is going to be playing in the Super Bowl, and then who do you think is going to take it?
The AFC right now is if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and unfortunately, we've seen the Patriots sitting on your guys' couch a couple years ago. Watch the Patriots do their thing. We've seen it, 5 times in our lifetime at least. Why not do it again? They're good. The Steelers are going to be good. The Raiders are going to be good. My other team I have winning the division is the Titans. I think the Titans are going to be much better than people think, and the AFC South is not very good. So the Titans have the opportunity. They have a very good run game, a great offensive line, and a quarterback that if he's healthy, they can game manage and easily win that division. And the Texans still, I think, could get in as a wild card. But I think right now it's the Patriots until somebody proves otherwise. NFC is very wide open. And it's like that every year. It's like the AFC, you're kind of like, well, there's the Patriots and maybe 2 other teams. The NFC, you go, well, there's 4 or 5 teams. Mm-hmm. All with legitimate cases. I like the Seahawks, but I don't think they're that good again. The Falcons, can they avoid the hangover and get back? Possibly. Packers are still going to be good because they have Aaron Rodgers who makes plays when the demand calls for it. If Dak Prescott takes his game up to another level, the Cowboys will be good. You could have the Buccaneers or the Cardinals or even the Giants possibly pop in and wreak some havoc. So, to me, I'm like your first caller and one of my favorite people, and Psycho Dan. I don't have a Super Bowl team yet because to me, you still got 2.5 weeks of preseason left, and then you got the 16-game regular season. So at this point, I'm tired of eating mozzarella sticks. I want some real football.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen.
We can all agree on that.
I'm ready because I just want to see if the hype for these guys. I'm tired of hearing about these guys being good or bad or better. Let's take it on the field, see what happens. I do like Oakland a lot though. So it's going to be interesting. And that's the beauty of the NFL, man. It's like you always have teams are going to be good, and then teams that maybe surprise you.
Yeah.
And then some teams that end up being disappointments. So like the Colts, if Andrew Luck is hurt, I think without Andrew Luck, they're trash. I mean, they're not going to be able to hang. They'll still finish third in the South because I don't think Jacksonville is going to win more than 5 games. But again, until they prove me otherwise, the beaten down fan in me says, until my team proves me otherwise, they're going to be bad, and you just accept that and move on.
As a Bears fan, I feel you. I get that completely.
Well, do you want to jump to college?
At least, I mean, we could. With college football, I had a conversation yesterday at work. We had a new supervisor start, and they brought him down from Ohio, and he's, of course, a big OH fan. So, I set you up there. So he was talking about what he thought from the Big Ten, But, the team we kept talking about was Southern California, and they look really good. Alabama will probably be good. You could make a case for Florida State or Clemson. You could make a case for a lot of teams, really, but it's going to be, Clemson probably won't make it back because they did lose a lot of talent, but they'll be good. Florida State kind of is in the catbird seat in the ACC, so they've got a chance. Oklahoma might be really good with Lincoln Riley, although I think maybe next year might be their big jump. I'm curious to see what Tom Herman does in Texas. Even though it won't be very good this year, maybe that there's too much talent in that state to not have 3 or 4 really good teams in it.
Yeah. You're always going to be relevant in Texas.
Right. And that's what makes Florida and Florida State and Miami, and then even the other smaller schools, while they're all so good, it's just there's so much talent. Texas, the same thing. Texas A&M, Texas Tech, TCU, even Baylor for a couple of years, even though we found out later a lot of that was lies and deceit, which is unfortunate. But, people have to realize sometimes when a team goes from not being very good to really good in a couple of years, a lot of times there's some seedy activity going on. So I really haven't been able to really read up on college football as much as I'd like to. So I don't know who's going to be your 4 teams. Because I would think off the top of my head, Florida State would probably be one of them. I'm really curious to see how they handle Alabama in a couple of weeks. I think that's their barometer. If they hang with Alabama, they're in good shape. If Alabama beats the stuffing out of them, they might have some issues.
Yeah, I think the ACC
and I say
is
that
probably
as someone
the most
living
open.
40 minutes from the stadium. There's a lot of Florida State fans that they think they're going to be good again this year. We'll see.
Well, you mentioned Florida, and I'm kind of curious to know your thoughts, knowing a little bit of your background. Do you have any hopes for Florida this year?
With Florida, somehow the last 2 years they went to the SEC East. I really thought last year Georgia would have been better. I really thought Tennessee would have been better. Tennessee is they're the tease. Every year you think they're going to be good, and then they end up letting you down. Georgia, I'm just not sold on their. Defensively, there's so much talent there. Offensively, there's talent there. I don't think Jacob Park's that bad. I think maybe he's not taking the game as seriously as he needs to. And that's going to be the case because he's got a couple of diehard football coaches' sons behind him that are not bad either. So that's going to be. I saw Jake Fromm play a couple years ago. He looked really good. It was high school football, but it was still he's obviously good enough to play in college. Yeah. So Georgia should be good. Florida, it all depends on how. Again, it's all about your quarterback, and they don't. Malik Zaire might be good. Felipe Franks might be good.
Well, I guess the big question with Florida, how do you think those suspensions are going to impact the early litmus test against Michigan?
I think from an SEC perspective, it may not matter at all. Obviously, because you can get to the championship game without it. But I think from trying to impress the national audience, their offense isn't that good anyways. But Callaway was their best receiver. The other guys they suspended are kind of important, but it just depends on their run game. I'm really more curious. I really liked what Jim Harbaugh did at Stanford, and I really liked what he did with the 49ers. And I think that their GM was more of the reason of their downfall than he was. I'm sure he probably rubbed players the wrong way, but their GM whiffed on a lot of draft picks.
Yeah.
And didn't give Kaepernick the support Kaepernick needed around him to be successful. So that being said, I want to see Harbaugh do well in Michigan, also because it makes a better rivalry. You always want those good rivalries.
Yeah.
And when Ohio State and Michigan are both good, it makes for better late November football.
Exactly.
Because you've got you've got the Midwest and you've got all their displacements all around the country. Everyone's wanting to watch the game and say, hey, let's have a good one. An epic comeback or, a knockdown, drag out, last second field goal type game.
Right. ESPN
probably never a snow game again, but we'll see.
Actually, I guess Fox this year likes it when it's that way.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, thank you very much for calling in, and I think we would like to try to make you maybe more reoccurring appearances here. For those of you who might not know, in the South Georgia area, Dapper Dan was a radio host for several or for a couple different stations. So he's got some way better expertise than any of us sitting at this table. So
I was going to say, you noticed the eloquence in his speech was much better than any of us three.
Anyways, on a different football note, if you guys are able to go to that game in September, I definitely want to meet up with you guys.
The Atlanta United,
Not for football,
Yes. And by football, we
then
mean
to
football.
come see you guys eat some burgers and have a juice box or something.
sounds good. All right. Well, thanks for calling in, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, y'all take care.
All right. Have a good one. And I think we might have time for one more caller if there's anyone out there. We can finish up our
We'll
thought.
finish up. All right.
For college, yeah.
So
we'll jump back over.
I'm an Auburn fan, and we surprised last year. We really did go into the went to the Sugar Bowl, right? That was Auburn.
Yeah.
There's so many to keep track
Yeah,
of.
no,
It's really difficult. We can
last
just say
year
a bowl
we went
game.
to the IDon'tCare.com Obsolete Bowl, which was that's going to be a thing probably. I don't think we'll get back to 9-3. I think we'll get to 8-4. Maybe if we can beat Bama, I'll consider the season a success.
Yeah. I think anyone, if they beat Bama, they can. If you can take down Saban's squad, I mean, let's face it,
And if we-
Bama is what they are because of him.
We'll take
If he-
another kick six. I mean,
I don't think he'll make that mistake
no,
twice.
no. I don't see. I mean, I won't mince words. I have no national title aspirations for the Auburn Tigers. Maybe our best bet's, to stay relevant. Maybe have a chance at the SEC West title, but I don't think we can. If we get past Bama, awesome. I hope we get past Bama. I don't know how it's going to happen with the Dark Lord or with the Dark Sith Lord that's in Tuscaloosa running the program.
And just with Auburn, you might have a stumble here or there.
Yeah.
Outside of it, just that
Yeah,
fluke.
Auburn's a lot. And okay, Georgia fans, I'm about to bust on you, so hold your ears. The Auburn's a lot like Georgia. Where they'll just have a game where they just lay down for somebody.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's happened for Georgia way too often.
Typically Florida.
Yeah.
We'll call it for what it is. Well, Jeff, I want to hear more about OH.
Like.
No IO.
IO,
I was gonna say, yeah, set it up.
I'm
like,
too worried about. We have that of late that tendency to sleep on one game. It was Penn State. It was Michigan State. I mean, when you let a bad team in the game, bad things happen. So we need to have a killer instinct, and JT needs to be able to hit the side of a barn.
Not me, JT.
Yeah.
The Bear.
Quarterback, JT.
The Big Ten. I'm not going to say it's the best conference out there.
Well-
I think it'll be better than last year, but not.
Do you think they'll have something like last year where they had 3 teams going in the last 2 weeks of the season that were really fighting? I mean, they were.
It's all in the East. It's all.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So Penn State's going to be pissed off. I mean, in all likelihood, they should have been there last year. I'm one of the few Buckeye fans that will admit we should not have been there last year. We should have been there 2 years ago when we had 13 players drafted and 8 in the first round or something like that. That team should have been in the playoffs. And then the selection committee tried to make up for it, and it just looked bad for everyone. So, yeah, I think we take it again. Just the West, I don't think there's anything there. It's going to be a run in the East. So, and this year the Bucks get Penn State at home.
Well, one thing we talked about, just real quick, between you two, thinking about the one loss. One thing we talk about reform. It's sports reform. I'm really impressed just with the way that the playoff system has gone so far. I know a lot of people still have criticisms, but for me, just the reform of what was changed from a completely broken system. One loss does not completely undo your season like it did, because for so long, if you lost anywhere after October, your season was over in terms of a national title. And I really appreciate, even just looking at the first 3 that we've gone through, they've all been from different divisions and all different types of teams too.
Right.
So for me, I don't have a favorite school, as it were. I am a big.
Sacrilege.
I know. I
In the
live.
South.
I live in a state where I just try to
That's like
remain
being an
neutral.
That's like being an atheist almost in the Southland.
It's probably worse, actually. But I am an SEC fan. I root for
Oh, no,
any and
that's
all
just
SEC.
cheating.
I know it is cheating, but I avoid a lot of hatred from a lot of friends.
From the camera.
Yeah, I'll hide my face in shame. But I do look for some big storylines this year. I know we're kind of wrapping up now. We've kind of gone a little bit over time. But hey, if you stuck with us this long, we really do
Thanks, we
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
I think this has been one of my favorite episodes. I really enjoy it.
We enjoy the interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. Love the callers. Would love to do it again. I'm sure we will.
Yeah, and I would tag on one thing with your point there, that one loss. I mean, you have several marquee matchups early this year. You have Florida, Michigan. You have Florida State, Alabama. You have Ohio State, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are big games, non-conference games early in the year. So the conference or selection committee, whatever, will look upon these games. Hey, if you lost, you're still scheduling this game.
Yeah.
So I hope that becomes a trend.
And in the past, they wouldn't even do that for fear
Right.
of, the one loss.
Right.
I mean, I think it was Boise State had an issue where they had an offer, like, we will come and play at your school
Right.
for free.
Yeah.
And, and no one took them up on the offer because they were terrified of losing.
Yeah, and part of me is kind of upset with. There's a lot of politics that go into scheduling. The big one that gets me: Ohio State was scheduled to play a home and home with Georgia, and the Big Ten made Ohio State drop it because of a contract they picked up to do kind of like I think they're doing it with the ACC or something. It mimics their basketball challenge that they do, where you play at a school. So that kind of disappointed me because that was going to be 2 seasons from now, which would have been really good teams. You would have had Kirby Smart and with his senior class. So the politics of that kind of frustrate me. So do we want to do a quick sound-off, send-off?
I mean, we're always down to complain about something,
Yeah.
right?
We do live in America.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Well, I've got a lot of sports stuff, but I don't want to get political. But I just want to, for my send off, just love and respect people. Simply love and respect you. There's love and respect is never a mistake. Mm-hmm. I'll leave it at that.
So I'm going to spend the next 30 seconds not loving and respecting somebody.
Go for it.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, my day job, I work, I'm a database administrator and software developer. And at the company that I work, we obviously do software for third-party clients. One of them actually said, and this is an actual quote, "This new feature shouldn't be that hard to code on your end."
No.
Don't ever say that to a software developer.
So mine's love and respect is yours is make people learn something. Educate yourself.
I mean, okay, if we want to tie it into sports, that is the definition of Monday morning quarterbacking something. Okay, people? Because here's a tip. Football coaches just love it when you tell them how to do their jobs. Jeff, what's your sound off?
All right, mine will be in the world of sports. We're big ECHL hockey fans. We got the Glads here, getting ready for the season. Even though we're currently coachless and presidentless, president of operations took another job as well. So this year, Alaska folded. They ceased operations.
They were 8,000 miles away from every other team.
But they're going to relocate to Maine. The franchise rights were given to Comcast Spectacor, who owns the Flyers. So I'm assuming you're going to see some affiliation there. They're doing a fan vote, name finalist. Here's what you got so far.
Gwinnett Braves issue?
They have the Mariners, which I like. I went to my college was the Mariners, so
Maine Mariners. Okay.
it was pretty good. They got the Watchmen in tribute to the lighthouses in Maine because it's in Maine, Portland, Maine. The Lumberjacks.
Portland Lumberjacks.
Yeah, these are all solid name choices. Puffins, it's where the birds nest. It's a little softer than the others, but I can live with it. The last one, the Maine Wild Blueberries. No, don't
Wild
do it.
blueberries.
I mean, Come on, draw the line. You had like three great choices and one okay choice. You didn't need a fruit. No.
It's just like the lamb chops or just the chaps,
Yeah.
the hush puppies. I mean, come on.
The large mouths.
Although if they
sweet
went with the
teas.
wild blueberries, could you imagine the chance, the merciless chance, in the because hockey fans can be vicious.
Oh yeah, when they come to Atlanta, we would have to.
Oh, they
yeah.
would not hear the end of it. And we are Rowdy Section season ticket holders, people.
And I would say the ECHL fans in Atlanta, I think we need to have something prepared for when Jacksonville comes because they are the little Jets.
Nice.
So
We'll give it to them.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
All right, one other note before we go. Blake Bortles went 8 for 13 for 65 yards.
Probably 2 series.
Jameis Winston went 21 for 29 with 196 yards and he did not throw a touchdown.
So it sounds like about 2, truthfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say most 3.
But he got booed when he underthrew Allen Robinson. Audibly booed.
It's preseason, though. We're
Yeah.
getting there. As our callers mentioned,
So
let's get to the
with
meat
that-
and potatoes of the season.
Tell them how to get in touch with us again.
All right, you can reach out to us on Twitter at The Sports Reform. You can also find us, obviously, find us on YouTube, so at The Sports Reform, and on Facebook, The Sports Reform. We're pretty consistent. You can email us, sportsreform@gmail.com. Or, as a lot of you guys did today, and we're very grateful, you can call in 530-377-6787. Drop us a voicemail with ideas. We do have a couple fun ideas in the works, I think, for future episodes, which might get us outside and have some fun here.
Yeah.
So for Scott, JT, and myself, have a great day.